Hello everyone and welcome back to another reaction video. And today we're going to be doing another crap guide to D&D reaction. And we're going to be watching first Barbarian again. And yeah. Anyway, there's going to be less videos this time around, so just warning you now. So yeah, let's just get into it.
Didn't you already make a crap guide to Barbarian?
Well, yes, but actually no, that one's garbage. It's shit. It's poopy doopy and in need of some update and polish like a live service game 2 minutes after release. I've gained a whopping 1 additional point in my intelligence since then, and I'm now superior in every way. Smarter, stronger, more wiggly than ever before. And this is the only one I'm doing, so don't hold your breath for the others. They're perfect forever. So let's start from the top. D&D is for dorks, what with all the complex words and math. It's packed to the brim with a bunch of mechanics and systems, and nobody has the time to read because they're too busy not playing D&D. No worries, you third-string athlete who occasionally looks at their old high school pictures and then reflects in the mirror wondering what happened. Lucky for you, I have a class that'll need as much brain power as varsity had to use on their midterms. And all you gotta do is learn how to throw a tiny plastic icosahedron just like how you threw every single game coach put you into. Welcome to a crap guide to D&D. Everybody likes to hit things, and D&D is the best because you can literally hit anything you want, including the other players. And what better class to hit everything than the Barbarian, who's the best at hitting things and never stopping hitting things. Having a D12 hit die means you have around a googolplex of hit points by level 2, and unarmored defense means the chunkier you are, the better you can block and avoid attacks because the enemy is too distracted at how your fat hairy tits are flailing about. Better yet, you have spider sense, which allows you to avoid traps, spells, social events, and laundry like you've just moved out of your parents' house and are trying to get your life together. But enough about defense. The real reason to play Barbarian is to hit it very hard, going into a bloodthirsty rage. You can channel your anger into the might of 1,000 dads who just felt the thermostat get adjusted, and during your rage you become the world's greatest goblin juicer. You gain bonus damage, advantage on strength checks, and any and all physical attacks will bounce off of your day 1 patch pecs. As you gain levels, you get progressively angrier and angrier, getting a straight up flat increase to your movement speed, an extra heavy swing when you land a crit, and become too angry to die potentially forever as long as you keep hitting things. As far as flavors of goes, there's the Berserker if you want to swing your weapon like it's taped to a ceiling fan, mistaken stupidity for bravery, and have an unlimited supply of Uno reverse cards. Alternatively, the Totem Warrior is like a gateway furry, where you channel your favorite Robin Hood crush and pretend everybody is Prince John. Battle Ranger to become a really pissed porcupine. Storm Herald if you want to make the environment around you as pissed as you are. Zealot if you want to be a diet paladin with a smite and aura that's made with 0 sugar. And Ancestral Guardian if you're a scared little bitch. Offense is the only offense, and I will have none of these tactics in my combat encounters. What, you thought I biggered my brain so I could think harder and waste time when all that planning fails because of a bad roll, and then I have to sit around being useless for the rest of the session? What do you take me for, some kind of wizard? Well, do you, huh? Fuck you, I'll beat the shit out of you. You think you're better than me just because you can count? I hope you like being pavement lotion because you're gonna be filling all the cracks in my driveway. And now you know how to play Barbarian. You're welcome. Hi.
Hi. Alright, that was Barbarian 2. Alright, now we're going to be doing alignment. So yeah. Alright, let's get into it.
I just wanted to take a sec for more people to notice and understand this disclaimer. Most importantly, this part, I don't actually want to upset anybody. It's all part of the character, and I hope everyone keeps that in mind. We good? Okay. Everybody likes personality quizzes, right? See what's your spirit animal, how burnt of a toasted slice of bread you are, what's your worst trait as an employee based on the brand of cereal you like to buy. They're great because most of the time, if you don't like what the quiz results give you, you can look up which answers contribute to what result and just get the one that you wanted in the first place and then brag about it on social media. Wow, would you look at that? I'm such a Slytherin because I'm so cunning, right? Yeah, well, joke's on you. That was all an intelligent ruse. I'm actually a Ravenclaw. Or am I? Same with star signs. They're just vague enough that they can boil down to:
you're a thoughtful individual who sometimes overthinks things and can be impulsive, but in the end of the day wants to do the best that you can for the people you care about while never settling for the worst possible outcome.
And I could say I just described a Libra and they'd eat that shit up like they're a pet that just found some stray cardboard. Luckily, Dungeons & Dragons doesn't have any of that dumb personality shit that nerds argue about for hours on the internet in hopes to totally pwn the other side with facts and logic or anything. Welcome to a crap guide to D&D. In old relic of the past and the easiest way to start fights both on and offline, the D&D alignment chart is its version of a personality quiz that no one can agree on. You've likely seen this tic-tac-toe board being used with pop culture characters being placed in each segment, giving a vague idea of what each of them means. But then all it takes is for you to put someone in the wrong place, and then everyone starts throwing fists as if they had just found out that you used their facial hair razor to shave your butthole. Remember, characters can only be one alignment forever, and must only ever do things considered to be that alignment, because thinking about character depth and development is hard, and when people disagree with me, I take it as a personal attack. More importantly, as a player, you get to say what your character's alignment is, and no one can ever debate that you're not playing that alignment because you know your character better than they do, and they're just jealous and wish their scrubby sheet was as cool as yours, so they can suck fat nards. Small smooth brains think lawful means the literal sense as in following the law, but instead what it really means is having a strict set of rules, whether it be moral, legal, or because your boss is telling you to do it. It's one of the most predictable alignments. 99% of the time when a lawful character sets out to do something through a promise or obligation, they actually follow through, which is why they make great fitness instructors, because when they say they're not going to fuck your mom, they actually don't fuck your mom. A lawful good act is keeping the promise because it's the right thing to do. A lawful neutral keeps the promise because it is a promise and they're going to stick by it even if fucking your mom saves the universe. And a lawful evil keeps the promise because they're going to fuck your dad instead since he technically didn't say anything about him. Inversely, the chaotic side of the chart are for characters that don't give a fuck about their integrity and do whatever the hell they want because they feel like it. Small smooth brains will use this alignment as an excuse to be a total wangrod and have an inconsistent character with no definable traits. Also known as the chaotic alignment's more recognizable cousin, the stupid alignment, with its constant wacky lol so random XD approach to playing their character. The most common examples of chaotic acts are lying, cheating, and stealing, aka part of a rogue's balanced breakfast. A chaotic good is stealing from the rich and giving to the less fortunate. A chaotic neutral cheats to win a tournament and uses the winnings to eat something aside from a bread sandwich every night. And a chaotic evil will lie about not fucking your dad again and then burst into his bedroom as soon as you blink like a really slutty weeping angel. The good and evil sides of the alignment chart are pretty straightforward. Good is if you're a good person and evil if you're a jackass. But that's a small smooth brain surface level understanding of good and evil, as in no, just because you don't stab people doesn't mean not stabbing them is a good act just because stabbing them is a lot easier. Good acts are ones that go out of the character's way to do good and help others, sometimes even to the good person's detriment, and oftentimes even if there's no promise of any sort of reward in return for the act. Like using your own hand to get a friend's favorite Lego set out of the toilet even after a night of really spicy curry. In contrast, evil is pretty straightforward, i.e. actions that could actively harm people or not caring about how those actions could knowingly harm people. An evil act would be being the person who threw the Lego set into the toilet, knowing full well it could be somebody's favorite. But good and evil doesn't just mean motives, it means methods too, and just because you have nice ends doesn't mean having mean means makes it any less mean. Example, you've caught a kidnapper and need to find out where they're hiding their captive so you can save them. A good act could be offering some snacks and a binge watch of their favorite show in return for information, whereas an evil act would be chopping their nipples off. The neutral cross of the alignment chart is for players who are terrified of commitment and refers to acts that either don't fall on either side of the good, evil, or lawful chaotic side of the spectrum, or characters that are horse for choice and like to do whatever tickles their pickle the most depending on the situation. Maybe they'll be employee of the month for one boss and then shit on the desk of their next. Basically, the neutral ends of the alignment chart are the most pure and concentrated, like the curvature of my butt cheeks, and do basically anything and everything that could be considered the essence of that side of the chart. And of course the middle ground, true neutral, aka the one that's always playing devil's advocate for literally everything, like they spend 10 hours a day discussing opinions on Reddit. And there you have it, the totally accurate, totally objective descriptions for each side of the alignment chart with no room for any other interpretations whatsoever. And if anyone tries to argue otherwise, they can suck fat nards. Also, never let players pick their own alignment, because when they do, it actually looks like this.
But that's totally because I'm such a Gemini and we don't think people are self-aware enough to be able to categorize themselves without being subconsciously influenced by their own personal biases.
And now you know how to use alignment. You're welcome.
Alright, cool. Yeah, a lot of times it's kind of just I'll do whatever in the moment. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I've seen most of the time. But yeah. Alright, here we have character sheet. Let's do this. Also, 14 minutes.
You may think you know D&D, but guess what, nerd? You don't. Not until you understand what the fuck is all this shit. What is this? What is this? Why do I need to know animal handling? The fuck is Arcana? The shit are hit dice. What's a proficiency bonus? Why are Electrum pieces so stupid? Well, strap in for a formal education, ass hair. I'm gonna reteach you how to do math, because let's be honest, you still use a calculator to add and subtract single digits. Welcome to A Crap Guide to D&D. This is your character sheet. Your character cannot exist without it. However, it doesn't always have to look like this. It could be a simple flashcard, a scribbling in a notebook, or an app on your phone if you like being spoon-fed like a baby who laughs at the phrase pee-pee poo-poo watermelon. And when playing as a character in D&D, you will refer to the character sheet whenever you have to roll the various kinds of dice that decide the outcome of your actions. Many are intimidated by this mighty thingy's magnificence, but mourn them ye shall not, for they be weak-ass bitches. It looks like a whole lot, but get a hold of yourself and take it one step at a time. The first person to voluntarily stick something up their butt didn't get anywhere by crying about how intimidating it is to stick something up their butt. They just did it, and look how far we've come. First of all, at the top we have the basics: name, class, race, background, and dumb BuzzFeed quiz results. These things will determine later things, so don't worry about those things until we come to them later. But if you don't know what you want those to be yet, that's okay. We can mosey on over to this tower of pimps, which will be the most important part of your entire sheet.
Ability scores.
These are your basic stats, the strengths and weaknesses of your character, and the main determiner of whether you're going to be snooping or spooping when dungeoning those dragons. Strength is your strong, heaping muscles, how much shit you can carry, how well you can push or pull heavy objects, and how well you can make your pecs dance. It also determines the weapon damage for most melee weapons, but we'll get to that later. Next is dexterity, the little bitch version of strength. It's your hand-eye coordination, reflexes, and balance, and how well you can hide your handheld when you hear mommy and daddy stomping up to your room like Godzilla. Where strength is about how you can plow through a table being thrown at you, dex is about how you can limbo walk under it. Dex can also be used with what are called finesse weapons, which lets you pick between the two physical stats when rolling attacks and damage in case you skipped arm day. Constitution is your general vitality, how healthy you are, your endurance, and is used for rolls as frequently as a millennial eats breakfast. It mostly only affects your overall hit points, but it's still fairly important and can be treated like the amount of candy in your pantry. You only realize how little you have once you see somebody else with lots of it. Intelligence is dumb. That is, unless you pump it up for big galaxy brains and become smarter than the average bugbear. It's used for general knowledge-based checks involving things like recalling info on history, magic, religion, and most importantly, defeating things with facts and logic. To generalize, it's book smart, so you know a lot of things. It's also used as a spellcasting modifier for both the wizard and artificer classes. Oh, don't worry, we'll get to spellcasting later. Impatient bitch. Wisdom is one that confuses a lot of people because they think it's just like intelligence, and I'm willing to bet those are the kinds of people who think cheese and mayonnaise can coexist on a sandwich. No, wisdom is more your street smarts and also general senses. It's knowledge based on practice and experience. No, not that experience. And it's the difference between knowing if a plant is poisonous and knowing that the person who told you it was poisonous lied about it because they don't want you finding their beloved lemon tree, you damn lemon whores. It's also the casting ability of clerics, druids, and rangers. Finally is charisma, how to tell if your character fucks. It can mean anything from your general likability to approachability to public speaking ability to betting ability. It's your charm, your confidence, and general way with people, whether it be luring them into a trap or aggressively scaring them so bad that they actively jump onto the trap out of fearful compliance. And it's the casting ability for bards, paladins, sorcerers, and warlocks, because remember, you gotta look pretty for the boss patron if you want to get that big eldritch bonus. Now that we're done covering ability scores, we can go over how you get them. And there are 3 generally used methods. If you're a wee baby who needs to meticulously make your perfect OC or else it won't be faithful to your precious self-insert, there's the point buy system, which works like a basic video game. All your stats start at 8 and you have a pool of points, usually 27, to distribute between them all, with the cost going up to 2 points per ability score increase higher than 13 and the cap being at 15. If you hate math, that's too bad because there's going to be loads of it later, but if you want slightly less of it, there's also standard array, which gives you the numbers 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8 to arrange on any of your scores. But if that's still too much choice and you want to put your character into the grubby hands of RNGesus, there's the most widely known method, which is rolling 4d6 and dropping the lowest number. This can get you scores anywhere from a whopping 18 to a poo-poo dookie 3 if your DM is a sadist and doesn't do grace rolls, but often results in overall chunkier stats. Whatever method you do, each number corresponds to a second number. Ooh boy, are you overwhelmed yet? You have to keep track of 2 whole numbers. What a crazy catastrophic conundrum. Well, don't you worry your stubby earlobes, because those big numbers aren't really that important. Their main purpose is to determine a smaller number called a modifier, which means you can totally ignore this number when you actually start to pillage the village. There's a fairly simple mathematical equation to figure out what each number's bonus is, but I know you're a dumb silly pants, so here's a chart. Now will you stop crying about it? The reason the ability modifier is important is because it's what you add to your dice roll whenever they're applicable. So if you have a lot of strength, you're gonna get a little extra oomph whenever you need to punch the vending machine when your chips are stuck. Have low charisma and you're gonna have a hard time convincing the janitor that you weren't the one who broke it. Keep in mind you can still roll great with low stats and roll badly with high stats, but having high ability modifiers makes it so your rolls are more in your favor. Now that you have your scores all placed and your modifiers figured out, now we can determine where those modifiers go, which means we can look at this spaghetti jumbly mess of words. Now don't go running a mommy calculator just yet, it's so easy even Fighter-Man can figure it out. At the top here are your saving throws. These are your defenses and resistances to various bads that want to smush you up and turn you into a turd. Things like traps, area of effects, most spells, and that little voice telling you that you're making poor decisions. You don't roll these on your own most of the time, instead your DM will ask you to make them whenever you're put in harm's way. And you see these little spaces? That's where your ability modifiers go. That's right! This way you can refer to these numbers numbers to add to your rolls whenever they come into play. Look how smart you are. I could just give you a wedgie right now. Next are your skills. These are the various different capabilities your character is able to do in a regular game of D&D. And each one is affected by your ability scores, just like your saving throws. And just like your saving throws, there's this trusty little space for you to put your awesome stonking and or poodoo modifiers. And how can you tell what ability mod goes where? Well, you foolish mortal wombat. Just look at this helpful little parentheses that tells you what it's attributed to. Go down the list and now you have a reference for what your character's good or terrible at. Got high dex? Well, congratulations, your sleight of hand means you can cheat at poker better. Bad at intelligence? Well, then you're probably not going to know who President Dingle Bloopy Noop is during the history segment of Are You Smarter Than a Kobold? Now, we're not quite done yet with this llama lot. We gotta go over what proficiency is.
Proficiency.
Proficiency is what separates the fake gamers from the hardcore top 500 ultra platinum uber pros, and you can find it in this little dingle. Starting at level 1, your proficiency bonus is 2, and it increases as you level up more and more. Basic gist, it goes up by 1 every 4 levels. This number is added to anything you are proficient, aka trained with. And as far as saving throws and skills go, this will be signified by a little check mark, and which ones those little check marks go into is determined by a combination of your class background and on rare occasion race. For example, a fighter has proficiency in strength and con saving throws, so wha-bam, wha-bam! Add those numbers. They also get to choose 2 skills to be proficient with from this list according to the parrot hambone. Normally you would pick your own, but here we're just gonna go athletics and perception. Wha-bam! Wha-bam! Let's say you're also a hermit. You get these 2 skills to be proficient in. Wha-bam! Wha-bam! Always remember, whenever you're proficient with something, it means you get to add this sexy number on top of whatever appropriate ability modifier that's added to the dice roll you make. Proficient in athletics, roll a d20, add strength mod, add proficiency bonus. And if at any point you forget what you're proficient in, just refer back to the player handbook for your race, class, and background. Congratulations, you now know how 90% of Dungeons and Dragons works. You feeling smart yet? You feeling like you can wrestle a spider cow? Well, sit the hell back down because we're not done yet.
Combat.
Now that we're done with the stat portion of the character sheet, we can look at the combat portion. This section is what you refer to when your DM says clickety-clackety, you're about to get attackety. Up at the very top left is your armor class, or AC for short. This by default is 10 plus your dexterity modifier. No, I said the modifier, not the score, pay attention. However, this can be increased by the different types of armor. Whichever one you start with will depend on which class you pick. Next is initiative. Whenever an encounter begins, initiative is rolled and determines who goes first and who stacks dice for the next half hour. This number is the same as your dexterity modifier and is added to your initiative roll at the beginning of an encounter. And this last little block is speed, which is how much you can move across the checkerboard each turn. Each square equaling 5 feet of movement if you're normal and use the Imperial system, and is initially determined by your race or how well you can try to convince your DM that your character ran track in high school. Below that are the hit points, maximum, current, and temporary. Your maximum hit points is like an anime fan's figure shelf after about 2 conventions. You can try to fit more, but we all know any extras are gonna have to sit on your desk next to all your empty cups. It's determined by your class, each one having its own size of hit die plus your constitution modifier. Because D&D is a communist game and believes in universal healthcare, at first level you always receive the highest possible roll for hit points. But for every consecutive level, you can either roll for it or take the coward's way out and take the average increase instead. And then your current hit points are pretty obvious. It's the amount of blood you still have inside your body at the moment. Reach 0 and your character skips 50 seconds ahead of this video. Lastly, there are temporary hit points, which go above the maximum hit points and you only ever get on special occasions via spells, special abilities, or the local grandma lizardfolk just made you a delicious bowl of her legally ambiguous performance-enhancing herbal soup. Keep in mind a couple of things. Temporary hit points are kind of like the skin-tight leather jackets from the 90s X-Men movies, in that they don't stack on top of each other and you have to pick which one you want to keep if given multiple of them. And if you're on the floor dying from a stab wound, putting it on won't magically stitch it together. And what are these 2 lonely boxicles? Well, my stupid student, they're yin and yang, 2 sides of a coin, one for when you're alive and the other for when you're unalive. The former being your hit dice. You have as many of these as your player level and can spend them whenever you take a sit for as long as a single episode of a Netflix original show to recover your hit points. What size of hit dice is once again determined by your class, and you get them back whenever you binge an entire season's worth of a Netflix original show. But what do you do when you're bleeding out while dressed in a 90s teenager's idea of a sexy badass superhero? If your current hit points ever reach 0, you have to look over on this touch-deprived box and start rolling death saves, where you gamble with Grim each turn and roll your most well-behaved d20 to see whether you luck back to life or have a very awkward reunion with those bandits you killed 5 minutes ago. Roll a 10 or higher and you gain a success, 9 or lower and you get a failure, 2 failures if you drop a fat stinky nat 1, 3 successes or a lucky 20 and you hop back to 1 hit point, 3 failures and your character sheet becomes the DM's ass-wiping supplies.
Attacks.
This section is where you throw in all your various flavors of stabs. If you have a weapon or attack of some kind, you write it in here and refer to it during combat. Say it's a sword and shield, yes, both. You would write down the name of the weapon here, then next to it is the attack bonus, aka how accurate your weapon is. No, not the damage. This number is determined by your strength modifier for most weapons, unless it's a ranged weapon like a bow, in which case you use your dex mod instead. Or if it has the finesse property, which allows you to pick either. On top of that, if you're proficient with that weapon, you can add that good old bonus to it too. But how do you know if you're proficient with a weapon? Let's put a peen in that. Alternatively, if it's a spell attack like Eldritch, your attack bonus becomes your spellcasting ability modifier. Let's take a bard for instance, which is the slut stat plus your proficiency bonus. Whenever you roll a d20 to see if your attack lands lands, you get to add this number to the total. Alternatively, if it's a spell or special item like a bunch of ball bearings thrown in attempts to recreate Home Alone that requires the enemy to make a saving throw, you can put the saving throw and difficulty class there instead. But how do you know what that number is? We're gonna put a peen in that too, shut up. Once you have that number, to the right of it is the damage roll, aka how aggressively you're going to introduce the enemy's face to your sword. This is included in the description of whatever weapon or spell you are using. Whether it be a light jab at their insecurities, a proverbial pounding of pornographic proportions, or 86 fire damage in a 20-foot radius, just fireball! Most weapons also include your strength modifier to the damage, unless once again it's a ranged weapon which uses dexterity or a finesse weapon which uses either. The difference being that you don't add your proficiency bonus to this roll unless something says otherwise, and most spells don't add any additional modifiers unless their wall of text explicitly says so. And lastly, make sure you include what kind of damage you're dealing so your DM can know that your psychic damaging vicious mockery won't do much against a revenant because their self-esteem is already in the grave. To recap, when you attack, roll a d20, add this number, which is these, then if you hit the enemy's AC, you roll these, and add this number, which is this.
Spellcasting.
We're going to take a little break from the main sheet to look at this sheet that has a list of all your accomplishments. Oh, look at that, it's blank. This is the spell sheet. If you're playing a character that's capable of casting spells, then you're going to take a gander over to this sheet whenever you cast them. Up here at the top, you can put your spellcasting class in case you're absurd and tend to forget which spells go where, your casting ability, which will depend on the class, your spell save difficulty class, and your spell attack bonus. So hey, remember that peen we put in for spells in your attacks? Well, it's time to unpucker that sucker because here it is, the spell save difficulty class, also known as DC. This is referred to whenever you cast a spell that requires the enemy to make a saving throw. And how this is calculated is 8 plus your cast mod plus your pof bone. Once you've got all that figured out, the rest of the sheet is for keeping track of all your spells and slots. You write down the spells you have for each level, how many slots you have total as well as expended, and if you have the spell prepared or not. Note, only certain casting capable classes apply. Please refer to the player handbook or any other supplementary book regarding your class to find information on what methods you have to go about obtaining and preparing spells. What, unsure of what spell slots are because your brain's too smooth? Well, sit the shit back, dit you get, and listen up. The weakest level of spells are called cantrips, or sometimes level 0 if you don't care about hurting their feelings, and they can be cast as many times a day as you want. First level spells and upwards, however, require a resource called spell slots to be cast, or else you'll have to find out the hard way that casting Thunderwave without having your beauty sleep will make the life or death battle with the Underlord of Darkness a lot less epic and a lot more smelling like last night's kebabs. And if the name spell slot makes things too confusing for you, you can use my personal preferred name for them, Mage Bullets. How many Mage Bullets you have per spell level and how you recover them is determined by your specific class and level. So just like 99% of this entirely redundant video, if you want more information, it's best to read the parking himbo. And keep track of your goddamn slots, because if you don't and just so happen to be able to cast 5 mage hands a day under section 3 chapter 1 paragraph 12 of the Code of Gelatinous Noobs, the DM has full rights to eat your dice.
Characteristics.
After looking in the mirror and taking some serious self-reflection after the apocalyptic chasm of the divide of the fanbase that was 4th edition of D&D, Wizards of the Coast started to take into consideration for the next version of D&D what gameplay features they wanted to invite to future parties and what gameplay features they needed to take out back and tell to think about the pretty space butterflies. One such old yeller victim was the Virgin alignment chart being completely overshadowed by the Chad personal characteristics, each one being a useful tool to remind you of your character's interests, motivations, shortcomings, and sexual fantasies. You never know if you're going to end up having to fuck your way out of a problem, so it helps to be prepared and know exactly what position would be the most in character. Personality traits are the broad strokes of your character. Likes, dislikes, interests, manners, whether or not they think something's a soup or a salad. Ideals are their drive, their principles, and what they vote for during election time. Or if they don't care about voting at all and prefer to stay home to catch a once-in-a-lifetime live marathon rerun of Animal Planet's The Most Extreme. Bonds are personal attachments and experiences they've had. It could be a good friend, a fond memory, or your favorite glow-in-the-dark bouncy ball that always seemed to bounce a little bit weirder than all the other ones. And lastly, flaws, which 99% of the players don't actually understand and will probably put something inconsequential, like clumsy. Not me though, because I'm flawless and perfect. Oh, you don't think so? Well, could a person with weaknesses do this?
All of this other shit.
Now remember that peen we put in wondering how you know what weapons you're proficient with? That goes down here, by the way, and that, along with basically every other section we've yet to cover, can be figured out in this next part, which is what I like to call the copying it over from the book section of the character creation, because that's basically all you do for the rest of the sheet. I gotta pick a background, check the player handbook. What proficiencies do I get? Check the player handbook. What about feats and traits? Check the player handbook. What's my starting equipment? Check the player handbook. Or any other supplementary book relevant to your chosen race, class, background, a la Volo's Guide, Xanathar's Guide, Eberron Rising, etc. And with all that done, congratulations, you now have a completed and fully functioning character sheet, ready to be used once, then completely lost, then found again once you've already redone a second one, or if you're lucky, one that will be used consistently over the course of several years to the point where there's more eraser skid marks than pencil lead, and the once firm sheet of paper turning as soft as a tissue person's dick after seeing you in the shower. Now you know how to use a character sheet. You're welcome. Hey, you kind of forgot to write your backstory. Fuck!
Alright, well, that's gonna be it for a reaction video today. Yeah. There's only one more video after this. and it's around 20 minutes. So yeah, that's gonna be its own video. We're coming up on the end of this series. So yeah. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss another video from me. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Also, I'm working on Pokemon Platinum, so look out for another video on that. Okay, bye.